Hello students, I am Dr. Tisha Vyas, Assistant Professor Biotechnology at Seyusha Institute of Science. In today's lecture, we are going to have a look at two important organizations of biotechnology, that is International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, that stands for ICGEB, and CSIR, that is Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. The content for the following lecture consists of the details regarding ICGB and CSIR, and in the next lecture we are going to study about the another organizations of biotechnology, that is DBT and GSBTM. This following lecture, it also consists of the questions as well as the references. So first of all, let us have a look at the background for the International Center for Genetics, Engineering and Biotechnology. I would like to tell you that it is an international organization which has been established within the United Nations Common System, and it is a special project of the Nations Industrial Development Organization, that is UNIDO, and it has been established in the year 1983. The another important thing that you need to know is it is a center for excellence, for research, for training, as well as for the projects in different fields of molecular biology and genetics. This particular organization was built for the benefit of the developing countries and the economies in transition. In the year 1994, ICGB, it became a complete autonomous international organization, and now it has around 65 full member states with the addition of around 22 countries. It has centers in different parts of the world, that is Trieste, Italy, New Delhi, India, Cape Town in South Africa, and it also hosts advanced laboratories, and it provides training facilities for experimental research in life sciences. The ICGB laboratory cooperates with a network of around 40 affiliated centers in its member states. The most important thing you need to know is that the headquarters for this center is in Trieste, Italy. Now, I would like to give you an insight of the different fields in which ICGEB has its work fields. ICGEB focus on research areas mainly at the mammalian and plant biology levels. Biomedical projects are pursued in virology, that is hepatitis B and E viruses, human immunodeficiency viruses, and SARS viruses. Immunology, it has biology of the immune response and tuberculosis. It also helps in the development of diagnostics and vaccines candidate for the dengue viral infection, and structural biology, that is development of synthetic antibiotics, crystal structure, determination of the proteins and the polypeptides, as well as in the field of malaria. Now, both in the basic research and vaccines and drugs development, as well as for the development of technologies for biopharmaceuticals, for the diagnosis of infectious diseases, biopesticides, biofuel production, as well as in the plant biology area, research projects addresses the study of the insect resistance, the abiotic and the biotic plant stresses, and the crop improvement through biotransformation. Now, besides that, at present, around 700 people from over 40 different countries, they work at the ICGEB, of which almost 600 are the scientific personnel, including the research scientists, the postdoctoral fellows, the PhD students, as well as the research technicians. Now, we would have a look at the different research groups in which the ICGEB is linked. I would like to tell you that ICGEB has currently around 25 research groups which lies under the three main categories, that is integrative biology, which includes the microbial engineering, the metabolic engineering, omics of algae, the structural immunology, systems biology for biofuel, transcriptional regulation, translational bioinformatics, yeast biofuel, molecular medicines, that includes the cellular immunology, as well as many vaccines program. So first we would have a look at the omics of algae, that is integrative biology field. What is omics? See, the word omics is usually refers to the field of study in biology sciences that ends with omics. I would like to give an example, that is genomics, transcriptomics, proteomics or metabolomics. So this word they end with omics. So we are going to study the omics of the algae. Now microalgae is a very potential source for the next generation renewable biofuels. See, it is a promising source of renewable energy to replace the diminishing oil reserves as a source of lipids for the biofuel. Algae oils, they are rich in the triacyl glycerols, that is the TAGs, and they serve as a material for conversion to biofuels. Now there are many studies which are going on the biosynthetic pathways and the rate limiting steps of the triacyl glycerol formation in microalgae. The research basically it is done on the TAG biosynthesis pathway, the oil mobilization, as well as the role of the beta oxidation genes in TAG catabolism. There is also research which is going on the RNA mediated silencing, altering the lipid content, which increases the overall lipid production. So understanding the biosynthetic pathways and the adaptation of the systems-based approach to metabolic engineering of microalgae, it is a critical step towards the making of algae derived biofuels economically competitive. The figure which you can see over here, that shows that with the help of the genetic engineering, media engineering, chemical modulators, you can produce many products like the biomass production, biofuel production, and many bioproducts using the molecular tools like the omic research, by using the pathway engineering, that is the TAG catabolism pathway, the synthetic biology, as well as by the genomic editing. So these are the tools which helps in the enhancing of the lipid content in the algae and in turn helps in the production of the biofuel. Okay, so now let's explore that how the microalgae is being used as the renewable sources of the biofuel. See, as you all know that due to the decreasing fossil fuels, it has a impact on the global warming, and it also leads to a great disadvantage to the environment, as well as there is an increasing demand for its replacement by sustainable renewable biofuels. So microalgae, it offers a potential feedstock for the renewable biofuels, which is capable of converting the atmospheric carbon dioxide to substantial biomass and the valuable biofuels. And that is of great importance for the food as well as the energy industries. Now let us understand how integrated omics research is a powerful tool in understanding the behavior of the entire biological system as a whole, where the metabolic pathways are often highly regulated and connected with a number of both the feed forward as well as the feedback mechanisms, which can either act positively or negatively, ultimately affecting the system's output, or you may say the product. Now the feedback inhibition is basically, you can say that it is focused on the past, whereas the feed forward inhibition, it focuses on the future. So the integrated omics research will either lead or to identify the relevant enzymes encoding the genes. So once you identify the enzymes which are encoding the genes, you can help enhancing the product, as well as the reconstruction of the metabolic pathways which are involved in the biosynthesis of the lipids, as well as the degradation of the precursor molecules that may have the potential for the biofuel production, and ultimately aiming towards the vision of tomorrow's bioenergy needs. The next program of ICGEB of the molecular medicine is the Emory Vaccine Center. Now this is a unique partnership between the ICGEB and the Emory Vaccine Center of the Emory University, that is based in Atlanta, that is Georgian Republic of the USA state. Now this goal, it particularly helps in the partnership to facilitate international collaborations in vaccine research for tackling infectious diseases. and it also provides an opportunity for the students, the fellow scientists, the clinicians in India, so that they can collaborate with the international experts in human immunology of infectious diseases and vaccines research in order to address complex biological questions that are pertinent to infectious diseases of public health, and it is of importance in India. And also with the support of NIH, DBT and Indo-US Vaccine Action Program, they presently focus to understand the human immunity to the infectious diseases with the particular emphasis on the dengue and chikungunya viruses infection in India. The next important field of the ICGEB, that is the plant biology. Plant biology basically focuses on the improvement of the crops as well as the plant production. As you all know that there is an hindrance in the growth of the plant as well as the crop due to the harsh climatic conditions, due to the pests, weeds, as well as the inherited genetic potential of the plant, as well as the environmental stress. It induces the oxidative damage in multiple redox reactions. So what they basically do is they utilize the entire ascorbate glutathione pathway which are encoding the genes, and that is how they effectively deactivate those environmental stress induced oxidative damage. Besides this, they also focus on the weeds, and the weeds are the most serious biological constraints in agriculture. They have also helped in the development of transgenic rice plants, simultaneously resistance to several herbicides with different modes of action for the application of non-selective herbicides to kill all the types of weeds. This they have basically done with the help of the technology which is known as the targeted genome editing technology using CRISPR, that is Cas9. CRISPR stands for the clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. With the help of this technology, what they have basically done is they have introduced the precise and predictable gene modifications in the plant's native genetic structure, and they have created such characteristics or traits of the agriculture value directly, that is helping in the rapid production as well as the growth of the plants. See this image, it shows that how the application of the certain herbicides like glyphosate as well as sulfonylurea as well as the phosphate, it helps in the production or as well as the increasing of the growth of the plant. You can see the control. Basically what is control is the plant which has not been treated with any kind of herbicides. So you can see how the growth is affected, and in the transgenic you can see that after the application of certain herbicides they have an immense growth as well as their disease resistance. In the second figure you can see that after the application of sulfonylurea, the transgenic they have very good growth compared to the control. In control you can see the seedlings but there is no significant growth. And in the second one, that is the pot study, you can see that before the application of the phosphate, that is the control, the plants have completely dried up and there is no significant growth. But after the application of the phosphate, they have shown immense growth as well as the plants are disease resistant. Now let us have a look at the different research grants which have been provided and the collaborations that have been made under the ICGEB. The research grant which have been collaborated with the ICGEB, it has been done under a program which is known as the Collaborative Research Program. And this program, it provides support for the research projects in the field of basic sciences, human healthcare, industrial and agricultural biotechnology as well as bioenergy. I would also like to tell you that these projects have been given away only after a peer review process. The symbols which you can see over here, those are the international organizations collaborations which have been made with the ICGEB. The first one, that is APARI, that is the Asia Pacific Association of Agricultural Research Institute. The second, that is the CGIAR, that stands for Consultative Group on International Agricultural Research. Then there is the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. There is International Center for Theoretical Physics. Then there is IILA, that is the International Italo-Latino-Americana collaboration with the ICGEB. Then there is OECD organization, that is for economics, cooperation as well as development. Then there is the next program, that is the TWAS, that is the World Academy of Science. The next program, that is UNIDO. After that comes the next organization, that is the Open Institute or the Open University. These are the universities which have been collaborated with the ICGEB. Then there is Institute Pasteur. Then there is ICRISET, that is the International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics. Then there is the Area Science Park. After that comes the CEI, that is the Central European Initiative. Then comes the FIT Institute. Then there is JNU. There is also International Cell Research Organization which have been collaborated with ICGEB. After that comes the Organization for Women in Science for the Development of the World. Then comes the UNIACB, that is the UN Interagency Committee on Bioethics. After that comes the CERI, that is to facilitate the research on COVID-19. There are foundations of the another institute based on Italy, that is Foundations Pietro Pitni. Then there is IBCN, which stands for the Institute of Cell Biology and Neurobiology. There is IICA, that is Inter-American Institute for the Cooperation on Agriculture. Then the next program, that is the NEPAD, that is done for basically transforming the Africa, and it stands for the New Partnership for Africa's Development. After that comes the Trieste City of Knowledge. Then there are many programs which have been done under the UN, that is the Office for Disarmament Affairs. Then there is the WHO organization, that is the World Health Organization. These are the other collaborations under the ICGEB, that is the United Nations, the UNESCO, the WHO, that is the World Health Organization, the UNIDO, that is the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, the FAO, that is the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the COMSETS, that is the Commission on Science and Technology for Sustainable Development in the South. The next organization, that is CSIR. CSIR stands for the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. It was established by the Government of India in 26 September 1942. It is also an autonomous body that has emerged as the largest research and development organizations in India. By the record of 2013, there are around 38 laboratories or institutes, 39 out research centers, 3 innovation centers, 5 units throughout the nation, and there is a collective staff of over 14,000, which includes a total of 4,600 scientists, 8,000 technical and the support personnel. Now, although it has been funded by the Ministry of Science and Technology, it operates as an autonomous body through the Societies Registration Act in the year 1860. Now, the research field that the CSIR involves is the aerospace engineering, the structural engineering, ocean sciences, life sciences, metallurgy, chemicals, mining, food, petroleum, leather, and environmental scientists. Ashutosh Sharma is the Secretary of DST that took additional charge as an Director General of the CSIR with effect from the August 24, 2018. So since 18 October 2018, Shekhar Shimande is the Director General of the CSIR cum Secretary DSIR. Also in the terms of IP, that is intellectual property, CSIR has around 2,971 patents in force internationally and 1,592 patents in force in India. CSIR has also granted more than 14,000 patents worldwide since its inception. It has also been awarded the National Intellectual Property Award in the year 2018 in the category of Top Research and Development Institute or organizations for patents and commercialization by the Indian Patent Office. Now let us have a look at certain achievements of CSIR. The first one, that is it is developed India's first synthetic drug, that is metaqualone, in the year 1950. It has developed optical glass at CGCRI for defense purposes. The next, that is it has developed the first Indian tractor Swaraj in 1967, completely based on indigenous know-hows. It has also achieved the first breakthrough of flowering of bamboo within weeks as against 20 years in nature. It was the first to analyze the genetic diversity of the indigenous Andamanese tribes and to establish their origin out of Africa 60,000 years ago. They have developed the first transgenic Drosophila model for drug screening for cancer in human. They have invested once a week non-steroidal family planning pill Saheli and non-steroidal herbal pill for asthma called Asmon. They have designed India's first ever parallel processing computer, that is Flossilver. They have rejuvenated India's 100-year-old refinery at Digboi using the most modern molecular distillations technology. With TCS, they have developed a versatile portable PC-based software, that is BioSuite for bioinformatics. They have designed a 14-seater plane, that is Saras. They have also established the first ever in the world traditional knowledge digital library accessible in 5 international languages, that is English, German, French, Japanese and Spanish. They have successfully challenged the grant of patent in the US for use of haldi, that is turmeric, for wound healing and neem as insecticide. In the year 2007, under the NMITLI program, they have begun the study of Sepsivec, a drug for the gram-negative sepsis. In the year 2009, they have completed the sequencing of the human genome. And in the year 2011, they have successfully tested India's first indigenous civilian aircraft, NAL-NM5, made in association with the National Aerospace Laboratories and the Mahindra Aerospace. And in the year 2020, they have initiated clinical trials to evaluate Sepsivec's efficacy to reduce the mortality rate in the COVID-19 patients. Now this is the list of the research laboratories that are listed under the CSIR. The first one, that is AMPRI, that is Advanced Material and Process Research Institute, which is located in Bhopal city. The next one, that is the CMMACS, that is the CSIR Center for Mathematical Modeling and Computer Stimulation, that is located in Bangalore. Then there is CBRI, that is CSIR Central Building Research Institute, that is located in Roorkee. Then there is Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology, that is located in Hyderabad. There is Central Drug Research Institute located in Lucknow. The next one, that is located in Karaikudi, that is Central Electrochemical Research Institute. And besides that, there are many centers which are located in Jorhat, Trivandrum, Pune, Bhubaneswar, Nagpur, Hyderabad, New Delhi, Palampur, as well as in Gujarat in Bhavnagar. The main questions related to today's lecture is that you have to write a detailed description of the different fields of ICGEB, and the second one, that is to write down a detailed history as well as the achievements and the research laboratories that are located under the CSIR. The references of the particular lecture is the official website of ICGEB and CSIR. Thank you students for hearing me out. If you have any queries, you can send me at my email ID.